First up was Nick was just asking, what's your favorite color?
My favorite color is blue. I don't know. I like some deeper purples and stuff too, though. Actually, generally, I just side with blue.
Banana and Butch were both asking, if you became president, would you set any restrictions on extremist groups like Jehovah's Witnesses?
That is a really interesting question. Would I set any restrictions on extremist groups like Jehovah's Witnesses? I think what I would probably do, there is a fine line. There is a line between what is abuse and what isn't. I think that human rights violations are a big problem in religious groups. So the UN has a Declaration of Human Rights. Some of you guys may know this. Some of my ex-Jehovah's Witness fans may already know this, but Jehovah's Witnesses are violating some of the human rights as declared by the UN. I think Article 18, here's Article 18. It says, everyone has the right to freedom of thought, conscience, and religion. This right includes freedom to change his religion or belief, and freedom, either alone or in community with others, and in public or private, to manifest his religion or belief in teaching, practice, worship, and observance. And then Article 20. Everyone has the right to freedom of peaceful assembly and association. No one may be compelled to belong to an association. Jehovah's Witnesses violate both of those articles. The company, the Watchtower Society, for lack of a better term, violates Articles 18 and 20 for regular Jehovah's Witnesses. No one may be compelled to belong, and everyone has the right to freedom of thought, conscience, and religion, and it includes the right to change their religion or belief without compulsion. If I were president, I would allow religions to do whatever it is they want to do and practice their sincerely held beliefs up to the moment they violate human rights. And if they started violating human rights, I would not jail them, because jailing them feeds their persecution complex. Just look in Russia. Hang on. I just pulled up this picture of this Russian Jehovah's Witness who was being put in prison. Guy's in handcuffs, and he's smiling. He's happy that he's being arrested, because he believes that this is foretold as part of the end times, blah, blah, blah. He thinks that this is God's plan coming to fruition and all of that. That's what happens when you jail religious extremists. It feeds their persecution complex. It makes them believe even deeper that what they're doing is the right thing. Never jail extremists. Well, okay, let me rephrase. Never jail non-violent religious nutcases. We'll say that. Sometimes if they're violent, you need to protect society from them. If they're non-violent, then you need to fight their ideas, because their ideas are really what's toxic. Their ideas are what's spreading and what's doing damage. You need to fight their ideas. As long as their sincerely held belief did not include abusing somebody or killing people or whatever other thing, let them do it. I still think religious freedom is important. Though I think religion is ridiculous, I still think religious freedom is important. So anyway, there's my answer. Before we move on to other questions, I just want to mention Omega Riley sent a super chat. He says, just so everyone reading this is aware, we are trying to coin the nickname T-Dawg for Telltale. That's T-DAWG for Telltale, so please use it. Don't forget to like the podcast. It's a good point, Omega Riley. Like the podcast. Thanks. And yeah, honestly, I liked Iced Tea. Iced Tea is good. Or T-Dawg with D-O-double-G. That one's pretty good.
Cognac was asking, what is your favorite video game franchise?
Oh, that's a hard one. A lot of you guys probably are aware that I love retro games. I love Nintendo, Super Nintendo, PlayStation. Oh man, they're so good. I feel like I'm on the fence between Metroid and Final Fantasy. But honestly, I feel like Final Fantasy it kind of went in a direction I really did not like for a while. Like, it got into massively multiplayer online stuff for a long time, like World of Warcraft style. Not a fan of MMOs. I really loved Final Fantasy VII. Absolutely amazing game. Final Fantasy VIII, a little bit less phenomenal to me, but still a really good game. I own 9, but I never did play it. I played 10 a little bit, but I was a little bit less of a fan of 10. I really liked the Dirge of Cerberus. That was on the PlayStation 2. It was kind of a spin-off game. It was a first-person shooter. Really good. That's my history with Final Fantasy. That's a really good franchise. I also like Metroid. I absolutely loved Super Metroid. One of the best games ever made of all time, in my opinion. I didn't get into Metroid like the original for the NES. I feel like it's a little bit dated, but it's still a really good game. So Metroid, Super Metroid was great. Metroid Fusion was phenomenal. One of my favorites, even though it was more linear than the rest. Metroid Zero Mission, I could not get into. I feel like it was a little like the gameplay was a little bit different than I'm used to. I wasn't a fan of how they did the gun. Like the charged blast was like really weak in it, so it was a little bit harder to get into, but it's still a really good game. Now the 3D Metroids, those have been a little bit harder for me to get into. I own Prime and Prime 2, but I haven't really played through them much. Either way, Metroid's an absolutely phenomenal game. Oh, and one more I forgot. Zelda. I love Zelda. Breath of the Wild was really great. A Link to the Past was good. A Link Between Worlds was good. Link's Awakening, really, really good. I hear they're remaking that this year. I'm pretty excited for that. I love Zelda games. Some of the best ones out there. Nintendo knows how to do a franchise. I must say that. They know how to do a franchise. Oh, and Pokemon, too. Pokemon was really good. I played Blue when I was little. Listen to me getting off on a tangent about game franchises. You opened Pandora's box with this. Okay, do you have one more question for me?
Yeah. Vance Man had been asking, what are some good materials for recent atheists?
Good materials for recent atheists. Honestly, for a long time, people really had to just go to books when it came to pretty much anything, because the internet is really very new. So if you were becoming an atheist, or if you were leaving religion and moving to another or whatever, you really just had to turn to books. But that's very different now. We have the internet, we have YouTube, we have all of these other resources that you can use. You have blog articles and things. I think that if you're leaving religion and you want to find a way to kind of try to reverse a lot of the damage that was done by religion, a lot of the views that were altered and slipped into your way of thinking, your best bet is probably to go with some solid books to start with. That's still classic. Maybe read some Hitchens, some Christopher Hitchens. Maybe some Richard Dawkins. Try reading The God Delusion. In fact, in The God Delusion, he actually quotes, he debunks a Jehovah's Witness book. Life, How Did It Get Here by Creation or Evolution, I think is the name of the book. He debunks like 3 pages of that or something, because they just misquote him all through it. So that's a really good book, The God Delusion. And I hesitate to say this because I feel like you need to be a lot more careful with it. But YouTube is a really good source if you're looking at the right material, because there are some extremists on YouTube too. Some extremist atheist YouTubers. I'll say that. But there are still a lot of good atheist YouTubers out there. Genetically Modified Skeptic, solid atheist YouTuber. Holy Kool-Aid, solid atheist YouTuber. Mr. Atheist, really good dude, really good atheist YouTuber. Not to toot my own horn, toot toot, but I think I'm pretty solid with it too. Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of them out there. Surus, the skeptic, is really good. Lots of really good people. Just be careful, though. Pull up a copy of the Byte model and kind of go through it a little bit and think about if you recognize any YouTubers using the us versus them mentality, black and white thinking, encouraging you to cut off communication with anybody for one reason or another. Just think about that if you're looking at any YouTubers, because there are some questionable ones out there. Anyway, I love Aaron Ra, by the way. Aaron Ra is awesome. He's an awesome dude. I love Matt Dillahunty, too. Really straight up guy. They're really, really great. Anthony Magnabosco, solid dude. You guys should most definitely go check out Anthony Magnabosco and Cordial Curiosity. Both of them are absolutely solid YouTubers. Anthony Magnabosco more so, I think. Cordial Curiosity has said some interesting things lately. I'm not 100% sure I agree with him, but whatever. He's still a good YouTuber, so we'll go with that one.
Emily was asking, would you ever write a book about escaping Jehovah's Witnesses or something along those lines?
I would love to. Yeah, that would be really cool, I think. My schedule is so full, it's so hard to sit down and write. I would love to do that though. It just takes a lot of work, a lot of time, and as I am a writer, I write basically every time I do a video, I'm writing 4,000 page essays. I'm sorry, 4,000 word essays. It adds up to between 6 and 9 pages generally. So I'm writing like 9-page essays every time I make a new video. I consider myself a writer. Finding time to write a book in between writing essays for YouTube is a tall order sometimes. I'd love to find the time, but yeah, that would be really cool.
The Arbiter was asking, what do you do when your family is slowly being drawn in by Jehovah's Witnesses? Is there a way to get them not to join?
Yeah, I have 2 videos on YouTube that it's called How to Deprogram a Religious Extremist, parts 1 and 2. And it just kind of details a method of deprogramming people. It's kind of a modified Socratic questioning, a Socratic reasoning. If you watch Anthony Magnabosco, I mentioned him earlier. If you watch Anthony Magnabosco, he kind of goes through a deprogramming style technique. It's called street epistemology, and it's definitely worth the watch. If you want to figure out how to kind of try to deprogram people to some extent, a little bit, it's really hard to do, takes a really long time, no guarantees it's going to work at all, but give it a shot. See if you can talk to somebody and see if you can kind of talk them down from the cliff. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.